back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Well, the news on the wire. The news on the wire. Folks, it must be the end times. Everything is just aligning right for this to be the end times. All these different things are happening. Whether it's fires, hurricanes, a criminal getting elected in office again, all these different things going on. And now McCarthy is finally fired. Finally fired, folks. You just can't believe what you're hearing. Mike McCarthy is out. He's out. It took this long. And it took all this for him to be out, folks. And listen, I won't be surprised if Dak faked this injury more than really what it was. So, they wouldn't make the playoffs and their season would be trash, and Mike McCarthy would have no reason to go on being a coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we don't even know if Jerry Jones was able to make this call or it was his son. I'm just saying in terms of this guy is old, Jerry Jones. We don't know about his faculties that much. He could just be coming out and faking it like Biden, saying he's okay. But look here, folks. This is going to be my pitch and my spiel on what I think is going to happen. And I told several people these things months ago. And we've been hearing rumors about this stuff for the longest time. So I think what they're going to do is probably push for Deion Sanders to come on in there. Deion Sanders has denied him coming to the Cowboys like months ago. He said he want to stay at Colorado. Look, folks, his son is leaving. One of his best receivers is leaving. He did all he could do at Colorado. There's nothing left in Colorado. They're not really going to go anywhere. He's not going to really get any bigger top recruits than what he had this year. And for the school and what you can get at Colorado, he did pretty good. So there's really nothing left. Just like at that school he was at, the HBCU, he did what he could at that college and lifted him up. He should not have said he wasn't going to lead them, and he was there and all that stuff, and then he left them. I just think we really need to stop saying these things, because he's playing a part in the nonsense too. Like other coaches, college coaches have said this in football, basketball. I guess it's just one of them things. I don't know, folks. All I can tell you is I think he's going to be out of there. I don't look, his son is NFL material for this NFL. So I can see his son playing in this NFL. It's not really what do you want to call it? A peer quarterback league, right? You saw Jaden Daniels go up in Tampa yesterday and just play around with these guys. He's like, you're playing zone? Okay, I'll just pick this apart. There's nothing to it. That favors a running quarterback. This league favors the running quarterback. So I can see his son playing in this era right here, this league. Back in the days, the 2000s, the 2010s, 90s, 80s, no way. He couldn't play in that. And also, folks, let's remember this. As you watch these games, if you're old enough to remember, right, how football used to be in the 2010s, the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, and we all know it got more lenient in the 2010s, but nothing like this, folks. I mean, the quarterbacks really can run a muck. They really can run a muck. And because of that, well, they can run a muck because you can't really hit them, right? So the quarterbacks really know that. So they're out here playing these games to where they can get all these extra yards. Oh, I'm gonna go out of bounds. Psych, and get an extra 5, 10, sometimes 20 yards. And, some of these quarterbacks, you see them and you're doing all this stuff and you're wide open as far as getting hit. It's time to get hit now. it's time to get hit. So don't be crying when a guy hits you. That's the game you want to play. But I don't like this with these quarterbacks, because if we know we got a running quarterback league, you can't be so strict on protecting these guys. It don't work like that. See, this should have been the other way. Pocket quarterbacks should have been more protected, right? Back in the days, these pure passing pocket quarterbacks. And look, back in my day, we had both, right? We had quarterbacks who could throw the ball and run the ball, right? Your Randall Cunninghams, your Warren Moons, your Steve McNair, Steve Young, these guys like that. Even Jim Kelly could run a little bit. Your John Elways, so don't get it twisted. Like, running quarterbacks is something new, right? The fact is, I think the running quarterbacks back in the day, they were more accurate, right? They weren't faster than these guys today, but those guys were more accurate on the run, right? I haven't seen that with Lamar consistently. Don't tell me about this season. Don't do it. I'm talking about when you can do this stuff in the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl, do this stuff in the Super Bowl, all this stuff. You got to be, when we say overall, we'll be in the playoffs, and if you get to the Super Bowl, you can do it in the Super Bowl, stuff like that. Take a Cam Newton. He was a running quarterback, but he was not accurate, folks. He was not accurate on the throw. Patrick Mahomes. I think, well, I wouldn't say he's the greatest on the run quarterback, because he just had so many great ones back in the day, especially, John Elway and Steve Young and these type of guys who could run, who could throw on the run and be accurate. You know what I'm saying? Randall Cunningham. Did I say him? I think I said him earlier. But yeah, Randall Cunningham. We had these guys before. We forget, man. Of course, Michael Vick. To me, I'll take Michael Vick over Lamar Jackson any day. Could you imagine? You put Michael Vick in this era, and you can't touch Michael Vick. Not like you can't touch him, but you can't hit like dudes was hit back in the 2000s. Man, Michael Vick be running all over the damn place. Are you kidding? Michael Vick will be having a field day, folks. Michael Vick will be breaking the records that Lamar just broke of Michael Vick's. They would be unreachable if Michael Vick played in the 2020s. This is what people really don't understand, man. They changed the rules to make it easier for guys, and then we want to act like these guys are even better because the game is easier. It don't really work that way, folks. Another thing, before we keep going, have you guys noticed? It looks like these guys in the NFL, they're allowed to put. Now, if you notice, they got the United States flag on the back of the helmet, right? The United States of America, because America and United States is two different things, right? United States is not a country. The United States are states that united to be a nation. So United States ain't a country. So when you see that flag, it's not a flag of a country, right? And that's why each state has its own flags. A lot of people don't know that. The America is the whole damn Western Hemisphere, right? So everybody, in essence, that lives in the Western Hemisphere is American, or was born in the Western Hemisphere, right? Whether you were born in Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico, Jamaica, Barbados, Canada, you get the drift, right? All these people are Americans. We live in Americas, in the Western Hemisphere. So sometimes, the history that's being taught in school, or the history, well, I think people just misinterpret what they teach in school. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that's taught in school is really the right history with the wrong faces on the history. Okay? That's what they do. Right? So when let's take for example, right? You say the word Native American. What does that mean? Well, some people will point to, these people who we're told are Indians, right? Of America. But when you say Native American and you look up the definition, a person born in the United States. Okay, so break down that word, native. What's a native? Somebody that was born in a certain place. And then when you say American, America or the Americas, right? So somebody born in America. Well, in that case, they're only pointing to, go look it up, person born in the United States. So anybody born in the United States is a Native American. And only the people who are Aboriginal or indigenous to the Americas were the Indians, were the American Indians, right? So when they say Native Americans came from Siberia, so where are they indigenous to, right? Siberia. So they were indigenous to Siberia and then traveled to America, to the Americas, right? So they can't be American Indian if they were Indians in Siberia. See, a lot of people are confused about that. So they're not indigenous to the Americas. So if you're not indigenous to the land ain't yours, is what I'm trying to say. If you don't, indigenous means you originated. You were originally from that land. That's what that means. You can't be indigenous to two lands. It's impossible. So let's get back on football. So Mike McCarthy is out, and they're going to bring in Dion. This is what I think. I don't know this for sure. I think they're going to do it. I would suspect they're going to do it right before the Super Bowl, or after they give all the guys the interviews. It probably won't take long if they give Dion an interview. That's your minority coach that you have to hire. So now you can move on. And some minority people said they want this Rooney Rule over and done with. I mean, it's real dumb at this point, really. There's too many black coaches in the league. There's too many black coaches coaching. It makes no sense. Okay? It makes no sense. There's black coaches winning Super Bowls, or already has. I mean, aren't we over this? So I think that's when maybe a couple interviews go by, boom, bam. They get him in there. And to me, he's going to be in a safe space because he's already got a team, folks. He don't have to go build a team. Why Mike McCarthy couldn't get this team playing is criminal. The players that they've been having on this team for the last 4 or 5 years and them never making an NFC championship game is literally stealing from those fans. Folks, I think at least 2 years out of the 5 years or 4 years, they had the best defense from top to bottom. And they had, I would say, top 5 offenses in the last 4 or 5 years. I just don't know, folks. I just don't know, man. And you can imagine how much it costs to go to one of the Dallas games. It must be just ridiculous. And at that point, from you not never winning or advancing in the playoffs, blah, 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 you're just going there for entertainment, really, as a Cowboy fan. You're not going there because they're going to end the season in the Super Bowl or the NFC championship game. No, the same song and dance. You know it. You know it, folks. It's the same song and dance. It's the same thing every single year. Every single year. So you're just going to Jerry World and all this stuff to have fun, maybe go cook out, tailgate, and just shoot the shit. That's about it. Because when the playoffs come, you already know what's going to happen. So again, yeah, he's going to have a good team, land in his lap. I really don't know how much he has to push to get these guys going. As far as most of the players are good. Most of the players are good. And to me, I think they're going to end up drafting Dion's son. And because I just don't think nobody else is going to draft him. I'll be surprised. They'll to me, I think they'll put the clamps on that and be like, don't draft my son. I mean, they won't say it openly, but they'll make it happen to where Deion can draft his son, and his son will sit behind Dak until Dak is ready. Not until Dak is until he's ready to mess up again. That won't take long. So we'll see what happens. To me, I think Dak stole a whole bunch of money. They had this guy. What are we laughing about? This guy's up in the booth. They're acting like he's calling calls as his coordinator. No, we need you on the field. We just paid you all this money, and now you're hurt. Who gives a damn about you calling plays on the damn sideline or in the booth? Who cares about that? I don't care about that. I'm sure the Dallas fans don't give a damn about that. But they were, I don't know what network. I think they were on CBS or NBC or something like that, and they were like, showing Dak up there, calling plays, and he's still into it. Get the hell out of here, folks. Get the. You know what else? I think I didn't finish what I was going to say earlier. Let me get back to what I was going to say. But did you notice that? Because when I was talking about the United States flag, I'll tell you, I'll be going into a lot of stuff, folks. I don't come out here scripted. I don't come out here, trying to hold back what I need to talk about or nothing like that, because I don't do this for money. I'm not monetized. So dudes will go out there and they'll be scripted what they're going to say, or they'll hold back of what they can't say because they don't want to get unmonetized, right? Or they don't, if they say the wrong thing, YouTube won't put their, their channel out there to certain people and stuff like that. I'm not trying to say it's not good to be scripted, because some shows are good like that. Some people can't freestyle. You know what I'm saying? Some people have to read from a script, to get their point across, to, make their show sound good and things like that, because they're trying to impress YouTube, But no, did you notice that, when you look on the back of these helmets, of course they got the American flag, which is really the United States flag. There's no such thing as an American flag. We just talked about that. They got the flag back there. We'll just say the United States of America flag. We'll just say that. That's what we can say, right? So they got that flag on the back of their helmets on the, I think it's on the lower left in the back. And I just kept looking and I'm like, what the hell? I'm seeing other countries right next to the United States of America flag. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, maybe this is a mistake. Maybe something tragic happened in that country. And then no, I'm looking at other guys' helmets. One guy had like 3 countries on the back of his helmet with the United States of America flag. Another dude had another country. Another dude had another country. So it just kept being a theme, and I kept seeing these things. So it looks to me that they're allowed to put their country next to the United States flag. Now, I don't know if they're allowed to do it only if they were born in that country, or it's just, they're, let's just say they're American, I don't know, say if they were born in the United States, so they would be like American Ghanaian or something like that, right? So they're allowed to do it like that, but I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think they would let them. I think they're only letting them do it if they were actually born in another country. That's what I'm thinking. Because it would be silly to let them do it if they were born in the United States, but their parents, come from somewhere else. That doesn't make any sense. So, and I kind of seen that because I've seen some guys, that didn't have American last names, but they still had the American flag on the back. So I think without another country. So I think they were born here, and they're only allowed to do it if they were actually born in another country. So what I'm trying to say is, look out for that. I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah, the NFL is letting them do these things, which it's whatever to me. I'm not trying to say if it's good or bad, whatever like that, but it's just something new I've seen. Like, it was, what? That would be weird, right? If they did it for the NBA, right? Say if they let them put, whatever country they were born in, that patch, put a patch of that on their jersey. that would be crazy, because it will really be showing that half the NBA is basically international, folks. That would be crazy, right? Because a lot of times we think about, Europe. You know what I'm saying? Oh, all these Europeans over here, or maybe some Africans over. No, man, that thing is littered with everybody. Canadians. SGA is from Canada. Get these words mixed up or whatever like that. Yeah, he's from Canada. So you got a lot of Canadians there in the NBA, more than what you think, right? I might have to do a piece on that. A lot of West Indians, different people from, different Spanish people from different Spanish countries, whether it's Spain, whether it's in the Americas, in the Caribbean or South America or Central America. Of course, we just talked about Europe. I think Asia. What's his name? I can't remember his name. He played for the Lakers. I think he's Japanese. I don't know if he's from over there. I'm not for sure. Of course, you got some Africans in there. Yeah, you just got a whole mix of different guys from everywhere. And I would say, for me, always looking at these names and these box scores, it just seems like, to me, half or more. It seems like more than half of the players in the NBA is international. They're international. And if not, okay, let's count first generation. And now we're really talking about more than half. When I say first generation, that means, maybe a lot of these dudes were born in the United States, but their parents weren't. And now we're really talking about way more than half. So I was just saying that because I was just thinking, what if they did the same thing in the NBA and they put on patches of the country they was from? That would be nuts. Because a lot of these guys, I thought that were like American, especially the black players. They aren't. I was shocked. I was shocked. And the amount of West Indian players is just nuts. It's just how many West Indian players are in the NBA is just crazy. So yeah, back to the NFL. We'll see what happens. And it's a lot of international players coming into the NFL too. It's a lot. Now, let's don't act like it hasn't been international players in the NFL. There always has, but it's really starting to ramp up now. West Indians and Canadians and, way more Africans. And they got this NFL Africa now, just like the NBA went. NBA has NBA Africa. They got NBA African leagues now. So I guess like when those guys are ready, they'll just pull them up out of there. It's like the what do you call it? The MLB. They started up those farm teams. That's how they start, getting rid of all the black players, right? They started those Caribbean farm teams, and then when they were ready, they pulled them up, and then they just start drafting players out of there instead of paying, American players millions of dollars in American farm leagues. What they did, they did the farm leagues in the Caribbean. They were paying like $25,000, $50,000, and to them, woof, that's a lot of money. It's probably more now. Probably paying way more, maybe $100,000, $500,000, but still, you have to pay American farm league players. I don't know what it is now. It's probably a lot. $2-3 million, if they even got American farm teams. I don't even watch baseball anymore. It was my childhood sport, and they ruined that. I'm not about to watch a league where people don't even speak English. I can't do it. I thought, I've talked about this before. They exiled all the great black players out, or all the black players, period. And to me, they kept a little bit of white players, so it won't look racist. And then their numbers start going down too. But to me, I keep trying to tell you, if they were smart, they would have kept the black players and brought in the Spanish players, and you would have had, kept a majority like that, and you would have had a Super League. That would have been crazy. You would have had a Super League. You know what I'm saying? Because those same players that used to play baseball, black players that used to play baseball back in the day, because black people were naturals at baseball. They were natural at it. So if you would have kept the black players, that product would have kept going. The Ken Griffey Jr.'s, the Bo Jacksons, the Deion Sanders, the Andre Dawsons, the Dave Winfields, the Dave Carters, the Dave Hendersons. You name it. The Hank Aaron's. Whatever you wanted, the Kirby Puckett's, these type of guys, David Justices, the Bobby Bonillas, right? The Barry Bonds. Well, when you guys hear these names, what do you think about? All-time great players. The Tony Gwynns. These guys were just, black people were natural at baseball, folks. Were natural and gifted at baseball. And that's why they were begged to come into the major leagues out of the Negro leagues, right? They were begged. And as good as Spanish players are, Dominicans, no, you can't replace what you had. You can't replace a Ken Griffey Jr., a Darryl Strawberry, a Doc Gooden, all these names I just named. Where are these Spanish players out selling the MLB on commercials, endorsements, and all this? They're not doing it in the United States. Mainly because they don't speak English. It ain't of the American culture. You know how much baseball was selling back in the day? Now, I'm not going to try to say we didn't have Spanish players in there. I'm not trying to say that. We did. Right? But it wasn't saturated. It was a mix of everybody. Black players, white players, and it was, Spanish players were the minority. Right? So the players, the black players I just named, and there's way more, right? You would have still had these type of players. The black players would have kept evolving and getting better and selling your league. And then you would have brought in the Spanish players, I don't know why, to replace the white players. I mean, there's no reason to overdo and oversaturate it with one race of people like they're really doing something. Right? It hasn't been proven that Spanish players are better than black players and really not white players. It's not proven. They're good. They're great. But baseball is really a technique and really a skill type of game. Kind of like, golf and tennis. It's real, what do you want to call it? Attention to detail, meticulous, all this stuff. Everybody can't play baseball. But yeah, man, they ruined baseball. You just can't even believe this. They ruined baseball by bringing in all these Spanish guys that don't even speak English. It didn't make no sense. Now, I'm not trying to beat up on them because they can't speak English. I'm just saying, how can you sell your league and they don't even speak English? We talked about this. Sports is not just about hitting the ball, catching the ball, throwing the ball, and all that stuff. Yes, that's 50% of it. The other 50% is a soap opera. For better or for worse, it's a soap opera. Right? So when we take the NBA is dying off. Right? Because they brought in all these international players. Right? They're not able to sell that game. So if you're going to bring in all these international players and saturate the NBA with these international players, well, their people from their countries are going to have to buy this game, because foundational Americans ain't buying this. We don't live in Canada. We don't live in Australia. We don't live in France. We don't. What American culture can these guys bring? Luka Doncic, all these guys, SGA. They can't bring no American culture. They're not from here. They got their top 5 players ain't even from the United States. And like I said, I'm not trying to hate on where they're from. And I don't think the United States is better than somebody else's country. I'm just saying, you're in a different country now. We like American faces. So anyway, for better or worse, LeBron James is the American face of the NBA, right? He's the American face. And he's selling it on whatever you want to believe it is. I think it's losing. I think it's not being competitive, doing it the wrong way, everything. Some people think it's some kind of greatness in this longevity, but like I said, for better or worse, you got to have some type of soap opera, right? The NFL, what do they got going now? You got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Before that, you had Tom Brady doing great stuff, him winning 7 championships, and you always had storylines in the NFL, and it was American. Now you got Mahomes going for a 3-peat. I'm talking about this is like one of the biggest things that's ever going to be sold right here. If Mahomes wins his 3-peat, guess what? Here comes the GOAT debate, folks, and now we will start the debate. And the people that will go for Mahomes, they say, oh, well, Brady didn't do this in this little bit of time, blah blah blah, and da da da. And then the people going for Brady, like me, will say, well, look at his competition. Look at Mahomes' competition, and look at Tom Brady's competition in the 2000s, in much of the 2010s. It's not even close. Okay, look at Tom Brady. He beat you in the playoffs and beat you in the championship game. But their argument will always be Tom Brady didn't do a 3-peat. Tom Brady didn't go to these many AFC championship games in this amount of time, and how many yards, completions, and all this stuff that Mahomes has already achieved in this little bit of time. Tom Brady couldn't do it. So look, folks, whoever side you're going to be on, if this 3-peat happens for Mahomes, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. This is a soap opera. This is drama. This is more selling of the NBA, but it's American, right? And that's why they're trying to keep LeBron, because they know when LeBron retires, it's over. The NBA is over. It's over. People's pockets are going to dry up, especially on YouTube, right? Because you can't talk about nothing else, or they won't put your channel out there for views. Let's around say something about SGA versus LeBron. You might get, let's just say if you get 1,000 views from LeBron, right? Put SGA out there, man, you're lucky if you get 200. Ain't nothing interesting about SGA. He can't sell the face of this NBA. I'm not even gonna say it. But when we go back to baseball, when we talk about there needs to be a soap opera, there needs to be something. When we talk about baseball back in the day, if you knew anything about baseball was America's pastime. Baseball, we could say it was bigger than the NBA in the 80s, and 70s, 60s. I don't know too much about the 90s. I think to me they were more neck to neck. And I think baseball kind of NBA kind of took off in the late 90s away from baseball. But yeah, you had guys selling that league, right? You had Kirby Puckett, you had Bo Jackson, you had Deion Sanders playing 2 damn sports at one time. He'd show up for one game and then show up for the other game. I mean, one league to the other league. It was crazy. You had the Dave Justice romance with what's his lady's name? Halle Berry. In the 90s, I mean, you guys just don't realize how popular baseball was in the 90s, the 80s, and all this stuff when it was American. You really don't understand. And it was the black players that was bringing the drama to it. Kirby Puckett, Defiant, you used to have real brawls and real fights between teams. Who was it? Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry getting caught with crackheads and hookers at hotels, and this type of stuff, man. It was great. You had a soap opera, you had drama, you had all these different type of things that sold the MLB. But the problem was, while they were bringing in all these Spanish players and not drafting black players anymore, they were bringing all these Spanish players, and they were trying to keep baseball alive in the early 2000s with this steroid thing, right? It was a distraction, so you wouldn't realize what was going on. And the distraction was they was bringing in all these Spanish guys for cheap labor, and get rid of the black guys and the white guys that pretty much carried the league for so long. I mean, you don't have no Nolan Ryans or these guys no more. Baseball, man. I just can't. It's really a travesty what happened to baseball, and the NBA is soon to follow. It's soon to follow. Nobody's gonna care about this game in the next 5 years. LeBron James can't keep playing forever. He's the only thing that's keeping this game, and it's not in a respectable way. It's not in an honest way. It's not doing it the right way that he's keeping this game. People still talking about it, but He's the only thing that's keeping this game talked about. Really. These guys don't show up to work. They don't play. It's not competitive. All they do is shoot one style or play one style of basketball. It's boring, man. Imagine if you saw the NFL and they was playing one style of football. What would you think? It would be boring. And then all the men were in the NFL, they were all built the same. This would be weird. That's what you got now in the NBA. All these guys are like super skinny and frail, and they don't have no muscle on their body. They don't even look like men. It would be weird. Me looking at the 80s and 90s, and you don't even see men with muscle out there. That's crazy. Or like bulky bodies. It's weird to me. These guys are, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like sports and no muscle don't go together. I mean, like, I guess if you're a soccer player, I guess. But these guys don't even have any muscle. Can they even grow muscle? Is that it? And I don't know why people ain't been calling that out. These guys don't. Where's your muscle? Jason Tatum, Evan Booker, Luka, SGA, all these guys, where is your muscle? These guys don't even look like they developed as men. I got to get off of here, man. I'll be going to a lot of different places, man. I'll be going to a lot. But that, like I said, man, if Mahomes wins his 3-peat, this is what we're going to be talking about. Damn the NFL. I mean, damn the NFL. Damn the NBA. What is? Let me tell you something about the NBA. If Joker don't win the championship this year, that to me, that's a wasted career, folks. A wasted career. All this talent, all this stat padding, putting up numbers, whatever you want to call it. And he done won one championship in 10 years? What are we to think about that one championship in 10 damn years? Whatever, man. He might not win it. He might not beat Boston. And somebody said something about, oh yeah, he what do you mean he was ducking Boston, man? He beat Boston last year when he played him or whatever. Look, folks, I'm not trying to say he's scared to play Boston. I'm saying what happened. The SGA beat Boston. SGA ain't got no Hall of Fame teammate, no All-NBA teammate, no All-NBA defensive teammate. It might not even have an All-Star teammate. Maybe. I don't see no All-Stars on this team. That'll show you how weak this league is if he has an all-star teammate. I just don't see. I see those guys playing together, playing good ball. I don't see no all-star caliber type of guy. Maybe in this era. But he's got very limited help, right? I was saying that Joker ducked out because if he didn't beat Boston and SGA did, it would look bad in the MVP race. It would look bad. It looks bad now. Because where's this all-time great help that SGA has? And he's winning. Because we're told that Joker needs this all-time great help. I know he's not winning championships, or it really ain't won nothing yet as far as, banners and all this stuff. SGA hasn't, but I'm talking about as far as this MVP race. SGA has did more with less this year. Okay? And he's in number one in the West. So you got to give him the MVP, especially if he wins the West, without Holmgren playing the majority of the games, and that limited help. That's all we're saying. And that's what I was saying, that to me, if he would have lost to the Celtics, he knew that would have hurt his MVP case. It would have hurt it. Because SGA just did it with limited help. It's all I'm trying to say. I ain't trying to say Joker ain't good or, anything like that. I just think he ducked out. Somebody told me that it was Serbia New Year. Really, this is why people don't take the NBA serious. You're in another country. I mean, did you go back to Serbia and celebrate in Serbia? I just don't know, folks. You're in the United States now. This is a big game. You got to play this game if you want to make your MVP case. This would be a good game that you go in there and say, oh, SGA did that. I can do it too. But I can put up a triple-double while I'm doing it. That's all I'm trying to say, folks. Stuff was different back in the day. You didn't miss games because, you stuff like this. A New Year in Serbia? No, you won't miss a game like this back in the day, folks. You're in the United States. You're getting paid millions of dollars to show up to a game and win a game. That's what I'm saying. These dudes control the NBA. They do what they want to do. And I think they do what they want to do because, to me, I don't think they make this kind of money. So they live like a bratty life. Like, we're not getting paid this type of money anyways. We're going to sit out. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Right? The owners are making all the money. So we're going to be bratty about it. I don't think they make all this money. Why would you give... let me get off. You guys already know how I feel about this. Tell me what you think.